Hello and welcome. Today we've got Lewis Herms, and today we are going to be discussing the fake news media. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to Veniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Lewis can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Lewis, thank you for joining me. How are you, sir? And what have you been up to?
I'm amazing, incredibly busy. I just finished launching a film that I guess we'll talk about here, which is really, really cool, kind of about the global elite and their satanic agenda. I understand that our goal is to stay up on YT today, so I'll do my best. As you know, I've lost my channel the same day I hit 1 million views over there. So I've got a new one under my name, and hopefully we can rebuild that if I can learn how to keep my words smartly like you do constantly on your channel.
I said to Michelle Fielding after our last interview, I said, every time you say something wrong, it just adds another 5 to 10 minutes to my editing because I've got to mute it,
Right,
So,
exactly.
But where should we begin, Lewis, with the fake news media? What do you think is going on? If you could tell us also with President Trump's speech at the CPAC speech, which many people believe it was historic, it was great. What are what did you grasp from that interview? The speech that he did that you thought maybe that was coded or we could read in between the lines? What do you think went on there?
Right. Well, to me, and I know we have to parse our words properly, it appeared that he is saying to us that he's still in charge. Okay. And I think that's what's going on there. What was most important to me in relation to the Ukraine and the mainstream media right now is he said several times that Putin is a smart guy. Several times. He said it before and he said it during that speech. And I think the reason why that's important is he's not demonizing Putin over there while things are going on. And I know you have and I have beat the Ukraine story to death, but it's very relevant to what's going on because in relation to the mainstream media is all of their focus is right now over there in Ukraine. Well, okay, there's a couple of things going on. There's something called the Durham report that you're not hearing much about. There's been leaks from there, which are really interesting because Durham doesn't link. Even if you think there is a Durham, and that's a whole another rabbit hole that we can go down. So the mainstream media's pure focus is there. What are they not talking about at all? They're not talking about it.
Don't
Zero talk.
We can't say that word, okay?
Oh, even if you're not bashing it, you can't say it. Okay.
Yeah, we can't even say that.
Got it. Okay, so they're not talking about the CV at all. It's just all of a sudden it's just wiped away. It's gone. It almost never existed because that narrative of theirs completely fell apart. At the end, it fell apart. I talked to a gentleman today that I just met, and he actually he works in Hollywood, does some things for Hollywood. He's completely awake, but he's starting to notice that he's talking to people and they're understanding that the mainstream media is completely false. It's a complete operation to brainwash the public. And why that's interesting, because I've been talking to, I call them normies, and the normies are like, oh yeah, that's a given. Now, I can tell you a year ago, that's not a conversation that they would have said. So it's kind of beautiful that people are starting to wake up. So a lot of people understand if in this community, now we need to understand, folks, we have to be intellectually honest with ourselves. Nicholas, you, me, all the truthers, and most of the people that pay attention to us, we are in an echo chamber, and we like to pretend like we're not but we really, really are. So we have to do our best to reach out to the people not in the echo chamber. So in this echo chamber, we understand the way the mainstream media works. But I love is I'm starting to hear normies on the street. And I go out almost every day and try to touch base with people and ask questions to see, kind of take a pulse of my community in the United States to see where we are. And I can tell you firsthand that people are starting to wake up on their own, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So we went through this 2 years of what, and it ended up being an awakening process for us. So the challenge, though, is it's very easy to fall back into the MK Ultra. It's extremely easy. And let me give you an example. So most truthers understood exactly what's going on. They understand the way the deep state works, and they understand how they completely infiltrated and have a stronghold in Ukraine. I would say about 50% of the truthers within the first couple of days were, oh my Lord, pray for Ukraine. I can't believe Putin's doing this. What's Russia doing over there? I don't understand it. They're freaking out. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But that shows you how strong the MK Ultra is. Even within this community that we know what's going on, they just start putting out images on the mainstream media, and normies, or not even normies, truthers even get sucked into it, and they start believing it immediately.
I know. I spoke to a truther. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm so sorry for cutting you. I was just going to say I spoke to a truther this morning, and that person said, I went to the petrol station, to the gas station here in the UK. We call it the petrol station. Mm-hmm. And I saw all the newspapers, and Putin is going to go to war and blah, blah, blah. She goes, I couldn't look at it. It was terrible. And it's true what you're saying. We get sucked into it, and that is the MK Ultra, isn't it? It's like the hypnosis.
It's exactly what it is. And so I've told this story before, but it's going to be very applicable now. And it's a very transparent story. So I've been a truther for a long time. I was actually exposing HARP back in the day before anybody ever knew what HARP, the weather systems were, so on and so forth. I exposed how Google manipulated their algorithms in conjunction with the federal government and a mortgage program to cover up HARP. All that. But guess what? When 9/11 hit, for about the first day, I was like, oh, I thought what I thought. False flag, this or this, whatever. These things went through my head. The next day, I was all in believing the narrative. The next day. And I was awake. So the MK Ultra is super, super strong, right? And it took me a few years to snap out of that. And I saw it. The good news is I recognized it firsthand. So when this so-called war, Russia-Ukraine hit, and the mainstream media did whatever they did, right? And I started seeing truthers flip like that. I said, whoa, I know exactly what's going on. So, but now they're coming around, and now they understand that there's over a dozen videos and pictures that have been put out by, when I say mainstream, I'm talking CNN, BBC, some big magazines in your country and the United States that have already had false pictures proven in it and false videos proven in it. So clearly they want us to pay attention to this. Now, think about it. Anything that they want us to pay attention to means they're diverting, because it's the old Freemasonry. Whatever the right hand's doing, you better pay attention to the left hand. So they're having you focus on the right hand. What's their left hand doing? So they're diverting attention from the Ukraine. So I just want to give people a very quick 5-minute synopsis of how we got to this point in Ukraine, why I think actually Trump and Putin are working together, right? And there's 2 wars going on right now. There's the deep state takedown, and then there's the informational war going on, which for the first week, I think the White Hats were losing, to tell you the truth. And I think now we're starting to gain the narrative back. So just to go through, I just put some notes down here. I just want to whip through these really quick, just so people understand how we got to this point. So I can't say the name, but there's something called the K mafia, which is actually was in charge of. They ran the Bolshevik Revolution, and the Bolshevik Revolution is where about 100 million people in Russia were affected, were either dead, raped, or tortured. Right. This is what happened. So all of that stemmed from, there was a time where Russians actually told the KZ, let's call it the KZ, the Russians told the KZ, you need to pick one of three religions because we're done with your black magic. It's called Babylonian black magic is what they used to do. So the Russians said, you need to pick one of these three. It was Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. So they picked Judaism, but they didn't pick it because they were Jewish or they believed in it. They picked it as a cover. People have to know it was a cover because in the background, they continue to present their Babylonian black magic. And they ended up moving their forces all around the world. And they ended up in the UK of all places, right? And they took over and created actually the central banking system, which is known from the Rothschilds. Here's why all of that's important. Their stronghold is in Ukraine. If you look at the prince of the KZ, he has a certain emblem, right? That certain emblem is widespread. That's the crest for the KZ. Well, if you look at the Special Forces Police of Ukraine, what emblem do they have right on their crest? The exact same one. So people have to understand the background is deep and dark. And this has been going on since 100 AD. I mean, so we're talking 2,000 years of this madness. Their stronghold is in the Ukraine. And the reason why that's important is because think about it. Ukraine leads the world or is in the top 10 in uranium ore, titanium ore, magnesium ore, iron ore, mercury ore, shale gas, coal reserves, right? And by coincidence, the sons of the major deep staters are all on the board of directors of the Ukrainian's largest gas company. This is not an accident, right? Why do deep staters have property there? This is a massive stronghold. So what's really going on there? I mean, look at they have tunnel systems. It's a hub for trafficked, right? And it's known, this is the media produced this in 2014, that they take them right out of orphanages. There's 11 labs there. I can't tell you what type of labs that are there. So everybody knows this. So, but where we should really pay attention, and this is where the MK Ultra comes in so strong. Within 24 hours, Hillary Clinton, George Soros, and Marina Abramovich, spirit cooker, whether you believe they're alive or not, doesn't matter. They produced a video, separate videos within 24 hours, all demonizing Putin and putting their support behind Ukraine. So anybody that's out there that doesn't understand what's going on, all they should know is those three did exactly that. And who's on the board of directors.
Well, you're absolutely right. And that's what Putin is doing. He's getting rid of the deep state assets in Ukraine and not against any of the citizens or any people. When Obama invaded 7 countries and dropped a bomb every 20 minutes, like Janet Osabad said in the fall of the cabal, his Twitter wasn't removed. But then we have Trump, on the other hand, who never ever went to nukes, to nuclear war, and his Twitter was completely removed. Why? Someone asked me this the other day, and I didn't know what to say to them, Lewis. They said to me, why would the deep state hold their assets in Ukraine right next to Russia, where if they don't like Russia? Why?
Well, because they consider themselves part of Europe. And I say consider themselves. It's always been a debate because Ukraine has also been encroaching on Russian land. A lot of people do not understand that, right? There's a couple of reasons why they would do that. Number one, in my opinion, there's Chernobyl there, right? And because of Chernobyl and the nuclear waste issue there, supposedly, and I put quotes up, so what they have to do is they cordon off the area. So what do they have under there? Is they have tunnel systems that they can hide anything they want because nobody can go in that area due to the fact supposedly there's a lot of nuclear waste that's still going to be there for another 100 years, right? So it's a great stronghold for them. It was a great place to traffic through orphanages, right? That was a fantastic place for them to do that. They already had established tunnel systems in there for decades before the deep staters ever moved in there. So there's a lot of reasons there, but probably most importantly, it's a one of the most ore rich, mineral rich countries in the whole world. So what they had is, if they ever had their backs against the wall, they had resources that they could literally tap right into the ground and extract anytime they need money. So there's actually a lot of sense for it. And you have to remember, they started establishing this before Putin, and Russia was very deep state before. I now think Putin's fighting against it. So they didn't just leave. Now, that being said, though, I think there's two other places that are more important in Ukraine, and I think we're going to find out about it. I think Switzerland and Israel. And why? And I think Switzerland may be the most important out of them all. Is Switzerland has been playing this "we are neutral" game for, before World War II. And what happens is, but in Switzerland, what do you have? You have what's involved there. You have CERN. You have the biggest bomb making factories in the world, or in Switzerland. Whereas Fauci's crazy family originated from and have gone through and decimated things in there. Where did the Freemasons actually start? But they were publicly denied on purpose, but they created a stronghold there. Where do all the globalists go? Where's the Geneva Convention? I mean, there's everything you think is neutral and wonderful about Switzerland is deadly globalist elite that's go on there. But the mainstream media, what do? It's constant how beautiful, wonderful Switzerland. Now, the Swiss people are phenomenal. Do they have great things? Yes, they have great sceneries, great chocolate, great cheese. Although I'm not a fan of cheese with holes in it, but that's me. The fact is, though, that is another mainstream cover-up. The biggest mainstream cover-up, in my opinion, is Israel. They position Israel in a certain way, and I think we're going to learn that there's a lot that goes on in that country in the background and below ground. Yes, I did say that will blow your mind in the future. So I think Ukraine would be the first step. I believe Trump and Putin are actually working in the background together. It's not an accident that he passed the soccer ball, the football, as you would call it, over to Trump. That these are symbolism, right? It's not an accident that he walked away. Putin has walked away from the table from several leaders. It's not an accident that there's a transcript that looks to be real out there where Putin really is telling Biden, you're not in control, right? And it's not an accident that Trump, in his last speech during this issue, said Putin is very smart guy. It's not an accident that he's going down this road, because we are in an information war right now. So I believe we lost the information war the first few days that Putin was in there. And I think now we're starting to get traction and pull it back, because the MK Ultra is not taking hold as hard as it has in the past for us.
And how long do you think the situation in Ukraine will last for? Would you say a few weeks or?
Yeah, I push away from predictions. I think that's a huge mistake that a lot of us truthers do. My instinct tells me, though, that this is going to be a short roll. There's something that Putin is doing that I think is a telltale sign that this is not only going to be, his intention is to be short. His intention is not to have civilian casualties and to preserve Ukraine. And that is, okay, so when America goes into war, right, whether you're a fan of war or America or whatever, doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not a fan of war, but there's reason for it sometimes, and innocent people do get hurt. But when we go in, generally the first thing we do is we take out all the communications, all the electricity, and all the water. That's what we do. We decimate a country, right? unfortunately, that affects all the citizens. As to date, Putin has not gone in and demolished their infrastructure. I think that's very, very telling. Also, if you notice, Ukraine has some of the best military equipment in the world, thanks to the deep state giving it to them and us funding them. But they're not bringing out their forces and using it against Russia. That's very, very, very telling. What's most telling that Putin is possibly not a bad guy is his troops are going up to the edge of town, and instead of rolling their tanks through, they're stopping. And they're given the opportunity for the citizens and civilians to leave the country. Now, you're not hearing about this because of the mainstream media and the MK Ultra. I don't mean leave their country, leave their city. So he's giving them the opportunity to leave their city. Now, why is that important? Because if he really wanted to just decimate them, he's not going to give them an opportunity to create a stronghold or leave. He's just going to go in. So I believe this is a deep state takedown because he's very pinpointed and not very aggressive like you would normally see in a war. Now, unfortunately, it's already on film a couple of times when some of the citizens are leaving. It's some Ukrainian troops that are trying to prevent them from leaving their own city. So who's really the bad guy over there? Again, this is all the news media, the MK Ultra, the mainstream media is manipulating this whole thing. But I think the truth is going to come out really soon on this one. And I don't think it's going to last very long at all, because I don't see much pushback from the Ukraine or the deep state. I think their pushback is all informational, which kind of tells you, Nick, and you and I have known this for a little bit, that to me, the deep state is losing. And about all they have left is their puppets and their narrative. They don't have much left other than that.
Well, if the deep state were winning in any way, I don't think a lot of people who we like would be alive, and I think that they wouldn't be dropping the mandates. You know, that's what I think, especially in the UK. I don't know. You know, it's just but let's see what happens. So you wanted to speak about also the Green Man. Well, what's that about that you're doing?
Yeah, if I could share my screen real quick.
Let me just let you do that.
So you should have it right there. So this is interesting. So I had a wonderful interview with Juan Savin, and it's interesting. Juan Savin's very polarizing. So he gets a lot of people that love him and a lot of people that are frustrated with him. So let me give you a little background of what I believe. I know he's connected 100%. You guys can buy the JFK Jr. narrative or not. That's up to you. I'm not even going to take a side on that right now. But what I will say is, well, I believe, after talking to him a few times, is I think that he's not only connected, it feels like there's some type of NSA speak. So he does know stuff. But here's what's very interesting. Take him for what he is. 107 is a teacher, right? And a lot of people love his stories, but sometimes they don't assimilate the message. So when I first talked to Juan, I said, would you mind if I can break up your interviews and make them into movies in order to help teach the message? He said, no, that's a great idea. I've seen your work. I'd really appreciate it. So I did one called Trump versus Goliath. That was a huge hit. Probably another reason why I got knocked off of YouTube. And then this one I just released yesterday, and I'm very excited because it's just getting phenomenal reviews. And it's called The Green Man with Juan Savin. So you'll see his boots just for a second, and then the rest of the movie is literally imagery to try to help with the explanation of the story. And it's a look into the minds of the satanic elite. And it really dives in deep. And the Green Man is a symbol or one of the many, many names that these crazy globalist elite have for Satan. And we dive into that and how they do sacrificing of little ones and why they do it and why they believe it and why they take it so serious. And I think I know it's my film, but I'm very proud of it. And it's been getting phenomenal reviews, and it's only been out for one day. You can actually go to my YouTube channel, which Nick will link. It's a new YouTube channel, brand new. So I don't have very many subscribers, but the movie's also on Rumble and BitChute. But if you go to YouTube, please subscribe while you're there. But check out this film. I think you and everybody would love it. It's only 18 minutes. Very powerful, though.
Great. So it's a bit like the Green Deal, right? That they like this green thing, don't they? Like the Grinch and the Hulk.
Yes. Everything
and reptilian
everything is
green.
Yes. And I actually, there's a part in there where I link the Green New Deal with the Green Man. So there is a correlation there. So that's very, very cool.
Absolutely. Well, Lewis Herms, it's been a great honor to speak with you. Thank you so, so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
There is something special I like. If I can, I would like to show a trailer for, I think it's 1 minute and 30 seconds. You know her and I know her. There's a wonderful lady called Kathy O'Brien. And she just put out a movie called Trance. And it's at trance.movie. I'm getting nothing to promote this. In fact, I'm going to give away some free tickets to here in a second. But I want you and your viewers to watch this for 1.5 minutes. This by far is one of the best films I've ever seen in detailing the MK Ultra, how it's gone through, how the globalists got to where we are today. So it's not just about Kathy and her story. It details the events and the circular methods in Freemasonry that they lead us to get us here. And she's wonderful. So if I could play that real quick, I will.
Lewis, do you want to send that to me and I'll edit it in at the end?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't play it now. Just send it to you.
Just send it to me and we'll play it as soon as we say bye. It will come straight after this. Okay. So
that's fantastic. So
Lewis, go on.
So I just want to let everybody know real quick. It's $12 to see her movie. And I know not everybody is financially set. So I'm working out a deal with Kathy and their producers, where some people that may not be able to afford it are going to be able to actually maybe watch it for free and send it to maybe 5 people. We're working out that deal right now. But in the meantime, I am personally paying for 45 tickets in honor of Donald Trump. And so people can go to my Telegram, ScrewBigGov, and I'll be releasing that information, and they could tag on to that, and I'll get you a ticket myself. I'll pay out of my own pocket. But you got to see her movie, you got to see Green Man, and God bless you, Nicholas, for everything you do. We're getting the word out. Folks, you have to know we are winning this war. If it doesn't feel like it, that is MK Ultra, because we absolutely are. Stay positive, throw love vibrations to everything, good or bad, and everything will work out just awesome.
Well, Lewis, thank you very much. And I hope you all look forward to the clip right now. Enjoy.
It was so hard to come running out of a hell that nobody believed existed. My name is Kathy O'Brien, and I'm a survivor of MK Ultra mind control. The MK Ultra program was to ultimately control the minds of the population for implementing what Adolf Hitler first termed the New World Order. When girls reached age 30, they were murdered or they were sacrificed. I was going to be killed as well. I was to go out in a blaze of glory and be burned alive. I'm so fortunate that an intelligence insider who saw the kind of corruption that was going on in the highest levels of government decided to take action and rescued me and saved my life so that we could begin to expose what was being done.